First, Apple is accusing OpenAI of hiring its engineers to steal the iPhone blueprints.
Then Dyson's $100 hand fan keeps selling out, and it's quietly become summer's hottest status symbol.
And the new power move for burnt-out corporate moms, not to start a company, to buy one.
This is Nick.
This is Jack.
It's Tuesday, T-Boy Tuesday, July 14th. And today's pod is the best one yet. This is a T-Boy.
The top 3 pop business news stories you need to know today.
Yeti stocks fell on Monday as President Trump restarted the naval blockade on Iran.
You remember the taco trade? We all remember that, right?
Of course.
Do you remember the nacho trade? Because that one's proving more true than ever.
Not a chance. Hormuz opens. Jack, let's hit our 3 stories. For our first story, Dyson's high-tech portable fan is the new status symbol of the summer.
And with temps at all-time highs, air conditioning isn't just a product, it's personal.
Oh, it's personal, and it's a big opportunity. But besties, the hottest accessory at the Cannes Ad Fest last month, it was the one thing that kept you cool.
Can I find a way to attend that agency yacht party without becoming a sweaty mess?
Yes, I can, Jack.
That's why the real star of the European summer heat wave is mankind's oldest tool, the handheld fan.
Ah, but Jack, we're talking about the electric handheld fan by Dyson specifically.
This new tech gadget has 5 speeds to choose from, depending on your level of disgustingness right now.
At level 5, it's like a mini hurricane, Jack. What are you feeling?
This is a little engine that could, Nick. It powers 55-mile-per-hour gale force winds into your face.
Borderline bends your nose if you get too close to this thing.
This new product, it's basically portable air conditioning on the go.
But interestingly, Dyson wants to signal that it's quiet and small by branding it as the HushJet Mini Cool fan.
It's definitely small, but it is not quiet.
No, because it sounds like a drill that the dentist used to get out your 12th cavity the other day.
But if you're on the subway and there's sweat dripping off your brow past your eyeballs right now, you don't mind that this little thing is noisy.
And it includes the necklace dock so it can shoot relief into your face while you're walking through Central Park.
So it's wearable air conditioning, Nick.
Oh, and the stroller mounts so the cool moms can literally be cooler than the other moms.
The New York Times Wirecutter, they're sending a reviewer to Mercury right now to test this thing out.
But besties, this is what we find fascinating as we dove into the business history of the fan.
Fans aren't just the OG air conditioning.
Jack, can you sprinkle on more context, please?
The fan is the first tool that became fashionable.
That's right. The first historic signal of status that also had practical value, it's the fan.
And that's why it became a fashion accessory.
The first fashion accessory, the first image of a physical fan, where did we find it, Jack?
Why don't you tell me, Nick?
Jack, it was on a hieroglyph of the Temple of Ramses III over in Egypt.
But it's not just Egypt.
No, it's not, Jack.
There's evidence of fans being used thousands of years ago, from royalty in the Mayan cultures to ancient China.
So it's a universal ancient status symbol.
In the 1800s, you flick your collapsible fan open at the opera to show everyone you deserve this box seat.
We earned it and we paid for it. But after 18 summers in a row of record temperatures in the modern day world, fans are now a techie device as well.
And it started in March, when Shark Ninja launched the Chill Pill for $150. This thing includes a Mr. Nick.
That's when Bieber dropped a custom version of this fan at Coachella this year when temperatures hit 100 degrees in the desert.
1 month later, Dyson launched their version for $100 and it sold out immediately.
Oh, but Jack, then Dyson sold out again after they restocked the thing a month later.
Now, the place that you're going to see these electronic fans with built-in air conditioning, you're going to see them in influencer videos on social media.
Influencer videos during the World Cup right now, right, Jack?
I'm a big fan of the World Cup, but here's my mini fan to keep me cool, that kind of thing.
Now, we should point out, besties, Dyson is a private company. And what does that mean in this case?
There's no publicly traded stock you can get a piece of.
Yeah, so Dyson, they're not sharing the financials and how the fans are selling right now.
But Shark Ninja is publicly traded. The stock's up 33% this year to an all-time high, driven by fandom.
And the way Jack and I see it, given that Carrier, the $56 billion residential commercial air conditioning cooling stock is near all-time highs,
why wouldn't wearable air conditioning be all-time highs too?
So add it all up, besties, and the personal fan isn't just trending, it's a huge business opportunity.
Because the old school paper fan that you go like this with in the subway. Sorry, nobody can see me here. I'm waving myself. That's the ultimate brand billboard, isn't it?
Oh, and Jack, the handheld electric version of that classic fan?
No one has made a cute one yet. And yes, cute was an intentional word choice there.
So Jack, what's the takeaway for our buddies who are fans of the fan?
If it's trending, you're too late. You need to find what's pre-trending.
Pre-trending. Yetis, handbag sales, they're down. So fashion needs a new accessory. And we think it should be the fan.
But you don't need to be a Vogue fashion editor to make that call. You just need to check the data.
Get this, Pinterest searches for fans are up 60% in the last year.
That's an early indicator of customer demand.
Okay, but get this, Pinterest searches for, quote, cute minifans, that's up 141% in the last year.
That's an indicator of viral demand.
People, they're screaming for what they want online. You just have to know where to look and what precisely to look for.
Because before it's trending with sales, it's pre-trending with searches.
For our second story, Apple just sued OpenAI for allegedly spying and stealing the iPhone blueprints.
Because nothing replaces an iPhone except another phone.
Full Mission Impossible on this. But besties, the way Jack and I see it, we're going to need a micro drama on what's going on in Silicon Valley these days.
More twists, turns, and accusations of cheating than a Days of Our Lives finale.
Do you not love me, Tim Cook?
On Friday, Apple's lawyers launched what the Wall Street Journal calls a thermonuclear attack on OpenAI.
Juicy allegations that are straight out of page 6 meets the business page.
It all starts when OpenAI interviews Apple employees to come and join OpenAI.
Yeah, but then here's where the drama begins. During the interviews, they didn't ask about your after-work hobbies when you're not working at Apple.
No, at OpenAI, they asked Apple employees to download Apple's trade secrets and bring them over to OpenAI.
Like the interviews went something like, you show great potential. You've got the it factor, but to build hardware here at OpenAI, we're going to need the technical schematics of the iPhone. Can you bring it with you on day one?
Oh, will Apple try to block it? Yeah, they'll try to block it. But I worked there for 24 years. I can send you the instructions on how to get around their security.
And if you're successful in getting us that top secret iPhone info, we're going to pay you double here at OpenAI.
Now, those words are not from the lawsuit. That's a dramatized dialogue that Nick and I created of the job interview.
HBO, call us when you're ready.
But here's what the lawsuit did say. That OpenAI had a scheme like this, and it infiltrated every level of the company.
They said the words every level. Like, are the interns involved in this thing? What's going on, Jack?
Now, Apple hasn't proven anything yet, Nick. It'll take months or years to prove this in court.
But the analysts are saying that this lawsuit itself is enough to stop or slow OpenAI entirely.
The strategy is not warfare, it's lawfare.
Yeah, it's a battle, but the weapons are objections, red lines, and subpoenas.
And OpenAI's only defense is motions to dismiss.
Oh, baby. One of Tim Cook's last moves as the CEO of Apple, it's this. Tripping up a rival with hundreds of lawyers.
And Elon applauded the lawsuit on Twitter, calling Sam Altman, once again, Scam Altman.
Because Apple's going full habeas corpus. But besties, Jack and I had to ask the question, why did the Wall Street Journal use the word thermonuclear to describe this lawsuit?
Because those words are the words of Steve Jobs.
Yeah, the Steve Jobs. You see, back in 2010, Steve Jobs called Android a quote-unquote stolen product and pledged thermonuclear war against Google.
Steve Jobs says that Google could only build Android, the alternative to the iPhone, because Google's then CEO, Eric Schmidt, was on Apple's board. Basically, he was a spy.
Well, fast forward 16 years, and this lawsuit, it alleges the same thing of OpenAI.
It says that OpenAI has Apple spies at every level of OpenAI.
Funny, Jack. Let's check the LinkedIn. Who's the head of OpenAI's hardware division right now?
A 24-year Apple veteran.
Okay.
Who was specifically called out in the lawsuit for instructing new employees who used to be at Apple how to get those blueprints past Apple's IT security.
I mean, this is starting to look like a high-stakes version of the plot of Office Space, second half of the movie. You know what I mean?
Yes, it is.
And here's the hero stat, Yetis. OpenAI now employs more than 400 former Apple workers at the moment.
And at the top of that alumni chain is Jony Ive.
Jony Ive, the legendary iPhone designer, although he is not mentioned in the lawsuit, we should point out.
Apple's lawsuit does say, though, that OpenAI's hardware business now rests on the shakiest of foundations, rotten to its core by its illegal reliance on misappropriated trade secrets.
Basically trying to clone and steal the OG Apple.
And did you see that clever reference to rotten to the core?
I see what they're doing there. The lawyers, apparently also poets.
But Yetis, what is OpenAI using all these Apple trade secrets for?
Jack, that would be to build an iPhone-killing hardware device.
And according to Bloomberg, OpenAI still plans to launch that AI-fluent iPhone killer this year.
Although this lawfare could slow all that down or stop it entirely. So Jack, you can't handle the truth, but what's the takeaway for our buddies over at Apple and OpenAI?
Only a phone can succeed the iPhone.
Yetis, for decades, our biggest tech companies have been trying to end the iPhone era. They are sick of paying the 15% Apple tax on everything in the apps.
We've all wondered what could replace the iPhone.
What could be it?
Would it be an AI pendant or pin that you wear around your neck that knows everything that's going on?
Would it be the smart glasses we keep talking about, smart earbuds with cameras, a necklace that actually doubles as a device?
Well, whatever it is, it's got to include a screen so that you can watch videos and play games. That's what people like their technology for.
Unless it's a hologram, but that tech's not here yet. So a screen to watch videos and play games, Jack, that is an iPhone.
So if Apple's allegations are true, it's because OpenAI believes that nothing will replace the iPhone but another phone.
Which would explain why OpenAI has hired 400 Apple people in an alleged criminal conspiracy to obtain the iPhone blueprints.
OpenAI's hardware device? It might just be something very similar to an iPhone.
Because it's looking like the only device that can succeed the iPhone is another phone.
Now, a quick word from our sponsor.
For our third and final story, the hottest new area in finance, it's Mom PE, or MAM, Maternal Acquisition and Management.
Moms are buying businesses and running them, and the results are totally mom-coded.
Yetis, 5 years ago, a woman named Annika was working at Amazon, and the return to office mandate enforced some painful decisions.
She was the mother of 2 toddlers, and her husband had already become the primary caregiver, but work-life balance became impossible.
So she quit, but then she bought DigiPod, a book printing business, which she did with a $10 million loan from the Small Business Administration.
Okay, that's Annika. Erin was a Googler in San Francisco, also with 2 kids, and she interviewed 80 companies during her maternity leave and then bought one of them.
She quit Google to acquire and run Southern Sign Company, a custom local sign business.
The magazine Fast Company interviewed those 2 women and a bunch of others, including another woman who was pregnant during her final year of her Dartmouth MBA program.
Well, after graduating from business school, she signed a letter of intent to buy a skincare brand while she was nursing her newborn.
Are you seeing a theme here?
Yeah, I see it, Jack.
It's the new financial trend among moms.
Not to start a company, but to acquire a company like it's your new baby.
Mama, mamacita, or as Nick and I like to say, ma'am, maternal acquisition and management.
So, Jack, can you sprinkle on some context to this fast-growing area of finance?
Sure can, Nick. Almost exactly 1 year ago, we introduced you on this pod to the term power pause.
Ah, the power pause. You see, 455,000 women left the workforce just in 2025 as employers required return to office mandates.
Childcare was the top reason, so women took a power pause.
A power pause, a rebrand to becoming a stay-at-home mom with an intentional career break to eventually return to the workforce.
Well, now we're seeing that power pause end for some of those women. They're returning to work, but as a boss.
We're talking ladies who launch.
But instead of starting a company, they're buying an existing one.
A concept Jack and I call aquapreneurship.
Another way to say that is entrepreneurship through acquisition, and the business model is similar to private equity.
Basically, you search for a solid company with an owner who wants to sell and move on from that company.
But unlike private equity firms who want to flip that acquired company in 7 years to turn a sweet profit, these women want to boss that company indefinitely.
Why? To dictate the work-life balance. As the boss, no one can tell you on the RTO return to office policies.
40-year-old Francesca has 2 kids in kindergarten, but her newest baby is the new laundromat chain she bought.
And this phenomenon is what we call MAM, Maternal Acquisition and Management.
Women who quit their corporate role 3 years ago, but are now diligencing a vodka brand to buy before drop-off of the kids.
Yes, we know what you're thinking. Buy an existing business that requires more money than just bootstrapping a startup out of your garage.
But moms are having kids later in life these days, so they have more access to capital and less tolerance for risk.
Oh, and instead of hitting up the venture capitalists and going on a whole roadshow to raise money, what are they doing, Jack?
They're grabbing a loan from the Small Business Administration, and since these businesses are solid companies with good profits, they're getting approved.
They're getting $10 million loans from the Small Business Administration.
One professor at the University of Chicago said, this concept may connect with moms because it's like parenting a toddler.
How would you describe a struggling business exactly, Jack?
Like a baby working through their emotions. As a parent, if you want to fix them, you got to listen to them.
So, Jack, what's the takeaway for our buddies who are all these moms buying businesses?
The future of these companies is mom-coded.
Yetis, the most fascinating part of this story to us, it's not just the numbers, it's the nuance.
Moms are acquiring small and medium-sized businesses, but then remixing them through a mom's lens.
Yeah, for example, one mom acquired a defibrillator medical equipment chain called Life Support Systems.
Her first move was to add a playroom. so that parents could bring their kids to work if their childcare falls through.
Oh, and remember that mom we mentioned who bought a book printing business? Well, she beeped up the flexible work from home and extended the maternity leave as soon as she got there.
She did that to boost retention because she quit her corporate job back in the day for lack of family-friendly office policies.
And now, Yetis, it is easy for a founder to dictate startup policies of the company that they started.
But it's more impressive for the new owner to transform an existing business's policies.
So add it all up, besties, and the hottest trend in finance is MAM.
Maternal acquisition and management.
And their businesses are getting fully mom-coded. Jack, could you whip up the takeaways for us for T-Boy Tuesday?
Dyson's electric mini cooling fan has become the hard-to-get fashion accessory of the summer.
But before it was trending with sales, it was pre-trending with searches.
For our second story, Apple has alleged a criminal conspiracy at OpenAI to hire Apple employees to steal their trade secrets.
Because the only thing that can replace the iPhone is another phone.
And finally, the hot new move in finance. Millennial women are ending their power pauses by acquiring and running businesses.
Call it MAM, M-A-M, maternal acquisition and management, and they are getting mom-coded.
But besties, this pod's not over yet. Here's what else you need to know today.
First, we got a Wagyu rib of a week. First, we got earnings season beginning, then 2 inflation reports, and 1 epic. That epic is the Odyssey.
But today, the 4 big U.S. banks all report earnings at the same exact time.
Awkward.
JP Morgan, Bank of America, Citibank, Wells Fargo, and, for good measure, Goldman Sachs.
Why at the same time? Well, because the earnings were all basically about the same last quarter.
Yeah, with each advising the SpaceX IPO, each bank is likely to announce crazy investment banking fees.
And second, Zuck has suspended Meta's new AI product that let your picks be used for AI-generated content without your consent and without even notifying you.
This came after tons of criticism, including from this podcast last Friday.
Yeah, Zuck's PR statement announcing the suspension of the privacy-invading feature, it simply said this.
We've heard that this feature missed the mark, so it's no longer available.
Man, a few words. And finally, you're going to like the way this stock looks. I guarantee it.
That sounds like a recommendation to buy, Nick, and to be clear, this is not that.
Well, the founder would recommend you buy it because Men's Warehouse just filed to IPO. Yes, the buy 1 suit, get free store is going public again.
No. Buy 1 suit, get 3 free store.
I thought it was 8 free. Can we look at the fine print on this thing?
It's officially called Taylor Brands. They own Joseph A. Bank too, and they went bankrupt during the pandemic when you traded out your suits for sweatpants, but now they're back.
Okay, our pitch to the company, when you go public, make it buy 1 share, get 3 shares free. It's a win, maybe win. It's going to look good.
My first suit was actually 4 suits from Joseph A. Bank.
Now, time for the best fact yet. This one sent in by Pierre all the way over in Paris. Jack, what have we got?
Well, we got the semifinals of this incredible World Cup, and it's down to France versus Spain, England versus Argentina.
Okay, but funny thing about tonight's France game, and what is it, Jack?
Well, it's France's record-tying 3rd semifinal appearance in a row.
But it's also France's most important holiday of the year.
France is competing in the semifinals on Bastille Day.
Bastille Day, a national holiday to celebrate the storming of the Bastille in Paris back in 1789.
Pivotal moment in French Revolution to end the monarchy.
But the French have one other advantage going into tonight's game as well.
They're carrying the trophy.
Literally. In addition to the whole country already having the day off, the World Cup trophy is being transported in a custom suitcase designed by none other than
Louis Vuitton.
Not possible.
It is possible.
Yetis, you look fantastic for T-Boy Tuesday. Jack, you are glowing over there, my friend.
And Yetis, if you want to help the show, drop a link to today's episode in your group chat.
The group chat's how we grow the pod. If you know, you know.
This is Jack. I own stock of Amazon. Nick owns stock of Delta. We both own stock of Apple, and I own 1 SpaceX share, and Nick owns more than 1.